Lakers don't have the numbers. It's all even. The trailer. Right hand gets it and goes to the line looking for the three-point play.
After being relatively silent for years, Kwame Brown has decided to use the power of social media to speak out against all the negative commentary and memes that resurfaced on the internet throughout the last decade. In case you haven't already heard, Kwame is trending in the last couple of days primarily because of his recent verbal attacks directed to Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, Gilbert Arenas, and most recently even Stephen A. Smith. It seems Kwame was tired of all the accusations that he's one of the biggest busts in NBA history and the fact that he was targeted throughout the years even after retiring from the NBA. In this video, we'll be covering Kwame's 12-year NBA career to confirm or debunk the narrative that he's one of the biggest busts of all time. Before we start, make sure you smash the like and subscribe buttons. Alright, let's get right into it. Kwame was an absolute beast coming out of high school and was regularly touted as the best player in the nation. He had everything going for him. He was Mr. Georgia Basketball in 2001, a McDonald's All-American, and ultimately got selected as the overall first pick of the 2001 NBA Draft. During his high school days at well-known Glenn Academy in Brunswick, Georgia, Kwame broke all kinds of records. He finished his high school career as the all-time leader in rebounding, blocks, and was the second all-time in points. So it's no wonder that all the major NCAA schools heavily recruited him, and he nearly went to the University of Florida. He even signed a letter of intent, but ultimately declared for the NBA draft. Kwame was the first ever high school player selected as the overall #1 pick in the NBA draft. The only other player ever to accomplish this feat was LeBron James 2 years later. When talking about Kwame Brown, many NBA fans and most NBA analysts often choose the same route. Oh, he played with the GOAT Michael Jeffrey Jordan, known for having a killer mentality. MJ was hard on his teammates and demanded perfection from them every single day. He would test them and push them to the limit to see if they can cope with the pressure. He would dominate them and even ridicule them in practice, and some players simply couldn't take that kind of competitiveness. Was that the case with Kwame? Did MJ break him mentally, and did he lose all the confidence he had coming into the league because he was dominated day in and day out? After doing some digging, we found an article from 2001 saying how Michael Jordan was ecstatic about adding Kwame to the Wizards. MJ was captivated by Kwame Brown's skills, so he turned down all other players in the conversation for the first pick. He comes from a family where nothing was given to him. He's gotten it from hard work and dreams. It's up to me, Doug, and his teammates to help him develop and mature. We know he has the skills. Here's what Ethan Thomas, his teammate in Washington at the time, had to say about the entire situation.
The person who I really felt bad for was Kwame, because Kwame, when he came into the league, he was the best person in the draft, hands down. It wasn't close. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. They brought in all the top big men, right? This was right at the Verizon Center. They brought them all in. He went against Tyson Chandler, he went against Eddie Curry, and he destroyed all of them. Like, it wasn't even close. And, coming there and having the pressure of playing next to MJ and really Doug Collins. Kwame won't say it now, but I can say it because I was there. Doug Collins, it was almost like he had a personal vendetta against Kwame. I would text him after sometimes. I'd be like, "You all right, man?" You know what I'm saying? I don't know why he's going at you so hard. He wanted to almost take his confidence, but it was really, if things didn't go right, he wanted to blame somebody and not blame MJ. It was messed up, but, for playing with MJ, Kwame would watch MJ and watch. But with Doug Collins in that situation, I really felt bad for him. You know what I mean? A lot of people just look at it and say, well, Kwame was the #1 pick. And, he didn't pan out the way you think a '1 pick would pan out. And I was like, well, there's a whole lot more involved in it than that. If he was the #2 pick, it was in a different situation. We just saw a completely different process.
After listening to Thomas, who was there in person, it turns out Doug Collins is the one to blame for not creating the support system for Kwame, who was by all accounts an outstanding young prospect. Coach Collins, unfortunately, did a lousy job of helping his player mature, build his confidence, and develop all other aspects of his game. Throughout his 12-year NBA career, Kwame Brown averaged 6.6 points, 5.5 rebounds, 0.9 assists, and 0.6 blocks. Right off the bat, we can see these are solid role player numbers, but not even close to the superstar level of play. Is that enough to call him a bust though? Kwame was never a go-to guy on his team, and his first few years defined his career trajectory. It's hard to play with Michael and Kobe because you're simply not going to get as many attempts as you would on a different team. And this generally means deflated numbers. Even though he played with MJ and Kobe, some of his best performances happened with the Wizards and the Lakers. So, let's talk about his best season and career highs. He put up the best numbers in the 2003-2004 season with the Washington Wizards when he played 74 games and started in 57. Kwame averaged 10.9 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 1.5 assists. In a game against the Sacramento Kings that year, Kwame recorded his career high in both scoring and rebounding after dropping 30 points and grabbing 19 rebounds in 48 minutes of play. His other notable seasons are with the Lakers in 2006-2007, when he averaged 8.4 points, 6 rebounds, and 1.2 blocks a game, and with the Charlotte Bobcats in 2010-2011, when he averaged 7.9 points and 6.8 rebounds. After doing the research, there are several things we can safely assume. Kwame did not get the keys to the gym in Washington. Instead, he had a target on his back from day one and the head coach with a personal vendetta against him. After hearing many rumors about MJ destroying Kwame's confidence, it turns out Michael Jordan is not the one to blame. If Kwame were dealt a better hand and picked by a different team, he would have likely have had an even better career in numbers. Ultimately, Kwame played 12 seasons in the best league in the world, a total of 607 games, and started in nearly half of them. He had solid numbers for several years, and therefore cannot be labeled as a bust. He did not live up to the extreme expectations of being the number one pick, but still ended up with a solid career. He played with two of the best players in the game and was a solid role player for most of the time. Oh, and one other thing, he earned over $60 million from basketball. That's definitely no bust in my book. What do you think? Was Kwame a bust? Let us know in the comment section below.